was warm by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I am afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. There's been times that I thought I wouldn't last for long, oh, but somehow I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. And then I go to my mother. Can you help me? I said, Mother, could you help me, please? Help me, please. She said, I'd like to, I really would, but I'm just not able. And then I looked around, and I was right back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I would last for long, but somehow I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will.
They thought it was cool to burn crosses in your front lawn as they hung you from trees in your backyard. They thought it was cool to leave you thirsty and stranded, Katrina. He thought it was cool to carry a gun in his classroom and open fire, Virginia Tech, Columbine, stop the violence. They thought it was cool to tear down the projects and put up $1 million condos, gentrification. They think it's cool to stand on the block hiding product in their socks, making quick dime bag dollars. They think it's cool to ride down on you in blue and white and unmarked cars, busting you upside your head. Freeze. 'Cause the problem is we think it's cool too. Check your ingredients before you overdose on the cool.
Before the track stop, tick tick tick, no read the time. I'm on feel the bass drum, no make me way long, what make the bass strong and tear the gate down and take it straight down and stop me when you feel me. To your radio, 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 to your radio.
Let's give a big round of applause for the Alonzo King Lines Ballet. Now it is my extreme pleasure and honor to introduce our mistress of ceremonies. And a little bit of history. This is the first easy for me to say, first Black woman public address announcer of any professional sports league ever. Ever. We all know and love her. Please welcome radio personality and the voice of the San Francisco Giants. Put your hands together for Dr. Renel Brooks Moon.
Thank y'all so much. Good evening and welcome. And happy Black History Month, everybody. We have an outstanding and very entertaining program for you. Before we get started, though, we need to hear a few words from the man that runs this town. Please welcome the mayor of the city and county of San Francisco, the Honorable Ed Lee. Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Renel, thank you for that introduction. It's always my pleasure to see you, and whenever I see you, I get to see that very big ring that you wear as well. Everybody, welcome to City Hall, People's Palace, for Black History Month. Very proud to have opened it, and tonight we have the cultural experience to close it out. And wasn't that a wonderful performance by the Alonzo King? God, that was nice. You know, it's a time when we all get together once a year, and for me, this year has been a pretty busy year. And I want to take the opportunity to thank quite a few people who've been helping me accomplish a lot of things in the city, accomplish things for you and for our communities. And I know there's a lot of department heads here tonight and commissioners. I may not be able to name all of them, but I know that 2 supervisors who I've had a chance this year to work very closely with have been helping me help you out quite a bit, and that's Supervisor London Breed and Supervisor Malia Cohen. This morning, I began my morning at Hunters Point in Bayview. And we were there to open up a center to prevent and treat children's abuse, trauma, things that we all know too much about, but have done not enough for. And so the Children's Advocacy Center was launched today with 3 wonderful bodies of people who are dealing with the trauma of children's abuse. I want to thank all the people associated with them, from Tipping Point to all the doctors from CPMC, to the Wellness Center, to the Children's Health Center from Bayview. They're helping out a lot, and they will do even more. I want to thank the people who helped us open up the Contractors Assistance Center a few months back, again in the Bayview, to help with small businesses understand and bid better and get contracts, put people to work. That's the Public Utilities Commission and so many of their volunteers. I want to thank our police department for working hard with us, doing the community policing, and helping me identify those youth who want jobs all through the summer. I want to thank, yes, all the people that have helped me create 6,800 summer jobs in the city, targeted for our underprivileged youth. You should see the smiles on the faces of those youth, and you know that's directly connected to why we have a lower rate of crime in the city. I want to thank people who have helped my staff get to the small businesses all along 3rd Street in the Fillmore, bring loans and small business opportunities to them and help them be more successful. Some of those businesses are here tonight to provide some service and some food and some love to you and show their appreciation. Thank you to the people who have helped us there. I want to thank some people who have helped me make sure that our middle schools in San Francisco are going to get all the technology that they need so that our kids can grow up with the skill sets. The Benioff family, the technology companies that are providing the funding, but our own school board and school district opening up more and more understanding that our middle school kids is where it's at, where we have to make a huge difference. And they are making that difference. I want to thank the people that are going to be working with me, that are already working with me. My new staff, Tamika Moses, others that are helping me bring Hope SF to all the residents in public housing and to reshape it, reform it, and make sure we rebuild people's lives as we rebuild communities. Thank you for working with us to bring Hope SF to San Francisco. Yeah. I want to thank all the people that will help me bring a new minimum wage to San Francisco workers. It's going to take a lot of collaboration, but we're getting to the ballot because we know a lot of people who are working at minimum wage now cannot survive in this city. I am going to thank all of you in this room who are going to help me build 30,000 units of new housing for folks who want to live in San Francisco. That includes rehabbing the public housing, includes preventing evictions, includes getting rid of those aspects of the Ellis Act that allow people to speculate and evict people from their homes. But it also includes the builders, the construction workers, the people who are graduating from the Healthcare Academy and from City Build. They're going to help us build those new homes. Thank you to all of you that are going to help me do that. Finally, tonight I want to thank some special folks that have helped us put this event together. People like Brenda Wright from Wells Fargo Bank. Thank you, Brenda. Kofi Bonner from Lennar Urban Homes. Thank you, Kofi, for your support here tonight. Platinum Advisors, thank you. Chumark Urban and Beta Breakers, they all have contributed to tonight's event for all of you to enjoy, to participate in. Finally, I want to thank all the people of San Francisco, and particularly those that say, I want to be a part of the solution, not just articulate what the problems are. You know me. I've always been around a lot of the problems. When I was at DPW, sweeping the streets and the alleyways, trying to respond. But there are a lot of people that want to be part of the solution. This is a solution-oriented city. And I want to make sure that all of our neighborhoods get touched by it. When elected officials that I am lucky to work with, like George Gascon, DA, or Jeff Adachi at the PD's office, or all of the supervisors working together with me, say that we want to solve problems, I want to thank them for carrying that attitude, because we need all of that all of the time. Tonight, joining us, I want to recognize and acknowledge some of the foreign country consulates who also came to celebrate with us. We're an international city. What happens in Fillmore and the Bayview also gets knowledge and acceptance in countries like Brazil and Japan and Mexico, whose consul generals are here tonight. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for celebrating. And Renel, pretty soon we're gonna say, play ball with everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight to celebrate. I look forward to working with all of you to solve more problems and to create a good, great city for this country. Thank you very much.
Always great to see you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate all the work that you are doing for our community. And yes, I look forward to seeing you on opening day at AT&T Park. Did you know that Mayor Lee has a really fly orange blazer? And by the way, who's ever described the mayor's wardrobe as being fly? No offense, I'm just saying, but the orange blazer is fantastic. See you at the ballpark, Mr. Mayor. And now, as is tradition in the African American community, when we have special gatherings and events like this, we like to begin with the Black National Anthem. Would you all please stand now? Here to lead us in the singing of the Black National Anthem, please welcome Mr. Lawrence Beamen. Lawrence?
With the harmonies of liberty, let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky, loud as the rolling seas. Sing God of our weary years. God of our silent found far on the way. Come on, let us into the light, keep us forever in path, we pray, lest our feet stray from the place our God where we met. Bless our hearts, bless our drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. World, we forget thee. Shallow beneath our hand, beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Let us march on till victory is won.
Go ahead, Brother Lawrence Beamen. One more time, please. That was a great arrangement, too. He kind of tricked us there for a minute. That was awesome. And he's not too bad on the eyes either, just saying. And now let us meet the two extraordinary women who are the brains behind this event tonight. Your San Francisco Black History Month cultural experience. They are two beautiful, bright, smart, shining lights, African-American sisters who are changing the world and who themselves are Black history. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Supervisors London Breed and Malia Cohen.
Miss Renel, you gotta give some love.
Absolutely. Those are you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now go. London, take a picture.
I'm London, and this is Malia, just in case you get us mixed up. Thank you all so much for being here. Mr. Mayor, thank you for being here. DA Gascon and his beautiful wife Fabiola are here. We also have the Consul General of Russia, the Consul General of Brazil, and his wife, some amazing people, an amazing event, and all of you special, beautiful people out there. Don't they look good?
They look good, yes.
Yes. Thank you all for coming. We decided to do this event because we felt there was a need to celebrate some of the good things. Supervisor Cohen and I work really hard in City Hall, and it's a challenge every day. We hear about the housing issues. We hear about the things that we're continuously tackling, but we wanted to see something different. We wanted to see something fun, something amazing, something artistic, something beautiful. So we wanted to bring a few of our close friends and families into City Hall to make this amazing event happen. So we are so happy to see you today, and Supervisor Cohen is just going to thank a few of our sponsors.
Thank you. Supervisor Breed is just like my big sister. We sat on the sideline and we talked about our talking points, and she covered everything. You guys look good. How are you feeling? We've got a lot to celebrate. It's 2014. All right, so we've come together. Supervisor Bree didn't actually talk about how we thought about this. About a month ago, we came out of the chambers. It was close to the mid part of January. We were discussing Black History Month and what we wanted to do and what we didn't want to do. And as a result of that conversation, Breed, you know Breed, she said, let's throw a party. And I said, okay, why not? Let's invite all of our friends. And so here we are. We opened up City Hall to welcome you all here. We've got our amazing city staff here. I want to recognize Mohammed Nuru from DPW. I want to recognize Ed Riskin from MTA. We've got SFPD here with us. And of course, many of you already know the lovely Naomi Kelly, our city administrator, also making Black history. Another person we have to also recognize is the other half of that Kelly coin, Mr. Harlan Kelly, who is the general manager of the PUC. And I think I see a colleague out there. Is that David Chu, president of the Board of Supervisors back there? Ladies and gentlemen, also come to celebrate with us. And I think that's Chief Hayes White I see as well from our fire department. I'd like to also recognize former member Anne Marie Conroy from the Board of Supervisors, and we have a whole host of commissioners that are also here with us today. But we got to take a moment to uplift our sponsors. Now, I understand that these sponsors came to the table with an open heart and a blank check. That's right. We got some fundraisers over here who understands the plight. So I want to recognize Wells Fargo, Lennar, Platinum, our Beta Breakers, TrueMark, Kaiser. Those are our corporate sponsors. And I want to recognize the talent that we have that have given us wine. We've got Gallo Family, Esterlina, Grotto Wines, brought to you from Bayview Hunters Point. We also have SF Mead, again, brought to you by Bayview Hunters Point. And then we've got a whole host of restaurants that are also contributing tonight. We've got
all in San Francisco.
Okay, all right. We don't want no turf wars, right? We don't want it to be ugly. This is about peace and fun loving. Okay, you're right. Let me uplift some of the restaurants that are from District 5. We got 1300 on Fillmore. And we've got Bumsy's chocolate chip cookies. And of course, we've got Gussie's chicken and waffles.
That's District 5, y'all.
But there wouldn't be no party if there were no Bayview Hunters Point in the house. So please give me a moment and let me introduce you to Auntie April's, Old School Cafe, and Radio Africa Kitchen. All restaurants that make their home on 3rd Street.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have today African American restaurants that are all here in City Hall serving some amazing food. We have some great drinks, and because of our sponsors, we're able to come together and celebrate and enjoy the arts and cultures. A few more performances, but I just wanted to make one special announcement. Many of you know Renel, who volunteers her time all the time to do these great things for us, to do this for Glide, and she never asked for anything. But Lennar decided that they wanted to do something, and they know that Renel is a founder of Friends of Faith, and so they have agreed to donate $2,500 to Friends of Faith in honor of Renel. So ladies and gentlemen, I know you're tired of hearing the talking, but we got a couple more performers. Enjoy the performers, enjoy the artists, enjoy the event, and have a good time and get to know one another. And remember, San Francisco is the place to be. Thank you.
Thank you, sisters. Before you go, I got to get a picture. Tommy? It's history. It's Black History Month. I need to photograph. And we're gonna give them Dream Girls. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna be Beyonce.
Wait, can you scoot over some? All right.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Absolutely. All right, how proud are we of both of them? I mean, really. I couldn't be prouder if I had birthed them myself. That was a huge surprise. Thank you so much for that donation. Friends of Faith is a nonprofit organization, a breast cancer organization that was founded in 1997 to support the late Faith Fancher, award-winning reporter at Channel 2, when she got diagnosed with breast cancer. So we're still trying to continue her legacy 15, 16 years later, and that donation is gonna do wonderful things for underserved and underinsured, or those patients that have no insurance at all who are dealing with breast cancer. So I'm thrilled and delighted and surprised and so happy. Thank you so much. And now on with our program tonight. We have some more wonderful entertainment for you. Next up, we are delighted to have a performance from a man who is doing wonderful, wonderful work at the African American Shakespeare Company. He is the artistic director. Put your hands together, everyone, for Mr. L. Peter Callender. Nice to see you again, my dear. You as well. We got some meeting like this.
I know. Goodness gracious, I feel like Charlie following the angels. Good to see you again, my dear. We ran into each other at the Macy's event a couple of weeks ago. So we got to stop meeting like this. People start talking, you know. Paul Laurence Dunbar is one of my favorite poets in the world. I had an opportunity to portray him years ago in Washington, D.C. So I'd like to present a couple of poems of Paul Laurence Dunbar's that are my favorites. Go away and quit that noise, Miss Lucy. Put that music book away. What's the use of you keep trying? If you practice till well you gray, you can't start no notes a-flying like the ones that rants and rings from the kitchen to the big woods when Melinda sings. You ain't got the natural organs for to make the sound come right. You ain't got the turns and twistings for to make it sweet and light. I tell you one thing now, Miss Lucy, and I'm telling you for true. When it come to real right singing, ain't no easy thing to do. Easy enough for folks to holler looking at them lines and dots when there ain't no one can sense it and the tune comes in spots. But for real melodious music that just strikes your heart and clings, just you stand and listen with me as Melinda sings. Ain't you never heard Melinda? Oh, blessed soul, take up the cross. Look at here, you joking, honey. Oh, you don't know what you lost. You ought to hear that gal a-wobbling. Robins, locks, and all them things hush their mouths and hide their faces when Melinda sings. She just spreads her mouth and hollers, "Come to Jesus." Till you hear trembling sinners, trembling steps and voices, a timid like, a drawing near. Then she turns to Rock of Ages. Simply to the cross she clings till you feel your tears are dropping when Melinda sings. Who that says humble praises with the master never counts? Hush your mouth. I hear that music as it rises up and mounts way above this burying sod as it makes its way to glory to the very gates of God. Oh, it's sweeter than the music of an educated band. dearer than the battle songs of triumph in the land, seem holier than evening when the solemn church bell rings, as I sit and calmly listen as Melinda sings. Towser, stop that barking, hear me? Mandy, make that child keep still. Can't you hear the echoes calling from the valley to the hill? Now let me listen. Through the brush of angels' wings, soft and sweet as Melinda sings. Now, thank you. Now, back in those days, we weren't allowed, thank you, we weren't allowed to gather and administer prayer to each other. So we had to go and hide away in the woods and meet at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and quietly pray for freedom and for love and for togetherness. And this short piece called the Antebellum Sermon is another favorite of mine, and it reads, "We is gathered here, my brothers, in this howling wilderness, for to speak some words of comfort to each other in distress. And we chooses for our subject this. We'll explain it by and by. And the Lord said, Moses, Moses. And the man said, Here am I. Now old Pharaoh down in Egypt was the worst man ever born. And he had the Hebrew children down there walking on his corn, to where the Lord got tired of his fooling and says he, I'll let him know. Now look here, Moses, go tell Pharaoh to let them people go. And if he refuse to do it, I will make him rule the hour, for I will empty down on Egypt all the vials of my power. Yes, he did. And Pharaoh's army wasn't worth a half a dime, for the Lord will help his children. You can trust him every time. And your enemies will sail you in the back and in the front, but the Lord is all around you for to bear the battle's brunt. They can forge your chains and shackles from the mountains to the sea, but the Lord will send some Moses for to set his children free. And he shall land you with his thunder like a blast from Gabriel's horn, for the Lord of hosts is mighty when he girds his armor on. But for fear someone mistakes me, I will pause right here to say that I'm speaking ancient. I ain't talking about today. But I tell you, fellow Christians, things will happen mighty strange. Now the Lord done this for Israel, and his ways don't never change. And he loved the love he showed to Israel wasn't all on Israel spent. Now don't run and tell your master that I'm preaching discontent, because I isn't. I's a judging Bible people by their acts. I's a giving you the scriptures, and I'm telling you the facts. Because old Pharaoh believed in slavery, but the Lord, he let him see that the people he put breath in, every mother's son was free. And there's others think like Pharaoh, but they call the scriptures liar. For the Bible says a servant is worthy of his hire. And you can't get around that nor through that. And you can't get over it with whatever place you get in this here Bible to fit. You see, the Lord's intention ever since the world began was that his mighty freedom should belong to every man. But I think it would be better if I pause again to say that I'm thinking about our freedom in a Biblistic way. But the Moses is a-coming, and he's coming sure and fast. We can hear his feet a-trumping. We can hear his trumpet blast. But I want you, I want to warn you people, but don't you get too briggity, and don't you get to bragging about these things. You wait and see. But when Moses with his power comes and sets his children free, we will praise his gracious master that done give us liberty. And we'll shout our hallelujahs on that mighty reckoning day when we all recognize as citizens. Children, let us pray. And finally, thank you. And finally, one of my favorite, and I hope it's one of yours as well, it needs no introduction. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes, this debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts, we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. Thank you all very much. Thank you, my dear.
Please give him another round of applause for his powerful renditions tonight. Artistic Director of the African American Shakespeare Company, L. Peter Callender. Thank you. Brilliant. Next for you, we have a noted artist and historian, and she is very well known in her own right, not just because she happens to be married to actor Delroy Lindo. Exactly. Please give a loving welcome, everyone, to Nashormeh Lindo.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to use a phrase we usually use in December, Habari Gani, which means what's the news? And the news is that it's Black History Month. It's February, and we're celebrating. But February is the shortest and coldest month of the year. When I grew up in Philadelphia, where we had Black History Month, usually our programs were canceled because of snow. So I began to really embrace the idea that Black History Month is every month. This past Sunday, and I actually prepared a speech, and I just told London, I'm going to go a little off book because we had a program at the De Young Museum celebrating Black history, and at the end of the program, someone said, well, you know, it's not really important to talk about Black history because Black history is American history, and American history is Black history. And I said, yeah, that's true. That's very true, and I agree with that. However, as a person who has grown up learning about my heritage and celebrating it, I will continue to talk about Black history because so often it's left out of the conversation. There's an artist who is living in the Bay Area now. His name is Richard Mayhew. And Mr. Mayhew will be turning 90 this April. And he always talks about the idea of omission and denial. And that's what's happened with our history in many areas of our lives. What I'm happy about is that every year around December, November, sometimes the beginning of January, I'll get a call. It wasn't in this case, so don't get me wrong here. Could you do something for us for Black History Month? Because you hadn't really thought about it until Martin Luther King's birthday rolls around and you think, oops, it's getting ready to be February, so we better do something. So I started thinking about why is February important for us to consider Black history. Carter G. Woodson formalized Negro History Week in about 1926. But African Americans have been celebrating and recognizing their heritage and their history since the emancipation of slavery. And there was always some kind of yearly tradition of celebrating and recognizing that. We just sang the Negro National Anthem, which was written by James Weldon Johnson as the lyrics, and the music was written by his brother, J. Rosamond Johnson. That song and that poem were actually written for a Black History celebration, or actually a celebration of emancipation. Carter G. Woodson decided, why don't we formalize this, and so that every year we have a formal time where we celebrate the history of people of color, colored people, Negroes, Afro-Americans, African-Americans, free Africans in America, etc. He selected February for a specific reason. In February, Abraham Lincoln was born. His birthday is in February, and he was the great emancipator. So that was one person, one way of celebrating. And the other person was Frederick Douglass, who was a very important speaker and fighter and freed runaway slave person who was a voice of our people in the late 19th century. His birthday is February 14th. But also, Richard Allen's birthday is February 14th, founder of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And Langston Hughes' birthday is February 1st, which you know who Langston is. So in 1926, they decided to even formalize this idea of celebrating. And it was around the time that there was a lot of movement in Black history and culture. The new Negro movement was in full swing. And what is that? The new Negro. The old Negro was the one who was enslaved. The new Negro was the one who was free and embraced that freedom and yet embraced their heritage. And so around the 1920s, after World War I, there was a major movement of African Americans that was political, that was educational and intellectual, that was artistic and creative. And Dr. Woodson was a part of this movement. 1926 was also another very important year. One of the things that Kathy asked me to do, she said, London says she wants you to say, did you know? Did you know? And I would be up here all day trying to tell you, did you know? All this wonderful history that some of which I didn't know as a child growing up. And had I known some of these things, I think it would have done something different about the way I saw myself when I was about 13, 14, and I didn't like my hair, and I didn't like my lips, and I didn't like something, you know. But there was a man by the name of Arturo Alfonso Schomburg. And I don't know how many people here who have heard of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. But I bring with me to the Bay Area some of my experiences of working at the Schomburg Center in New York, where this gumbo, this mixing, this growth of Black culture came from. They talk about the Harlem Renaissance. I contend it's the new Negro Renaissance because it happened everywhere. It happened here in San Francisco. It happened in Philadelphia and Detroit and Kansas and all over the country. People were coming to a realization of who they were as a people. And this celebration of Black history, or Negro History Week, was a way of undermining, not undermining, but underpining that idea. Mr. Schomburg was a Puerto Rican of African descent. He was born in the 19th century. And as a child in the 5th grade, they got an assignment. Do a report on your ancestral heritage. His teacher looked at him and said, you know what, Arthur, you don't need to bother because your people have no history, they have no heroes, they have no great moments. And Mr. Schomburg took that statement as a catalyst to inspire him for the rest of his life to look for the evidence of history of his people. He was a little boy. He was a little boy. So he began to collect. I'm going to read you just a quote from Mr. Schomburg. He said, well, you know, I feel that it's important for me to know my history. And Black people are not just slaves. And they're just not just these minstrel figures and stereotypes and people who just run after watermelon patches and steal chickens out the yard. Because those are the kinds of images that were prevalent in those days. He said, to skeptic and believer alike, to scholar and school child, to proud Black and astonished white, here is the evidence. And he took it upon himself to collect every shred of evidence he could find of Black history and culture, whether it was a book, a painting, a print, a sculpture, a poem, a letter, whatever he could find. He gathered this material, and among intellectual discussions and Sunday afternoon parlor lectures, etc., he decided to donate this collection to the New York Public Library, to the Division of Negro History, Literature, and Prints, because he wanted to make the information available to a wider audience. And so Mr. Schomburg, at the same time that Dr. Woodson got together, they gathered together in New York, and it became a very important part of what's known as the Harlem Renaissance. This collection played a highly significant role in the growth of this, in the flowering of this artistic output. People had access to books and images that they had never had access to before. Museums weren't necessarily open to African Americans, but there was a hunger and a thirst for this history to understand where we came from. And so when I heard this gentleman last week say, well, you know, it's not important to separate out Black history because we're Americans and Black history is American history. I said, yeah, that's true, but do you know who Fletcher Henderson is? Some people will say he was the king of swing, for real. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but he was Benny Goodman's arranger. You know, we recognize the contributions African Americans have made, but we have to continue to inculcate that into our children. This past year was the 50-year anniversary of 4 little children that we heard about being killed in Birmingham, Alabama. My son, who's 12 years old, wrote a poem about it. Then we saw an exhibition here in San Francisco by a photographer named Daoud Bey, and it was called the Birmingham Project. And in this exhibition, they talked about how there were children in the pictures, portraits, and there were portraits of adults, all from Birmingham. The children in the photographs were all the ages that all those 4 little girls or those children would have been in 2013. The adults were the ages that they would have been had they lived. So as we walked through the exhibit, I saw boys, and I said, you know, why do they have boys in here, you know, when we're commemorating the 4 little girls? They said, well, you know, there were some boys killed that day, too, in Birmingham. And that blew his mind. So we went back and we did the research, and we found the names of some other children who we don't know historically. Even though it's contemporary history, they've almost been erased from our history. And so he revised his poem to not only commemorate the 4 little girls, but also the 2 little boys who were in direct contact with that bombing of that church in Birmingham. And so our history is not, and this is something I learned at the Schomburg Center, working there for 5 years and just being inundated with Black culture and constantly receiving papers by different people and meeting all the various historic figures and entertainers and artists who came through the doors of the Schomburg Center. Our history is not just a dead history, it's a living history. And it continues to grow. It's true. There's new scholarship every day that's telling us something more about who we are and what our contributions to society are. I'm working on a series at the DeYoung Museum called Visions. They asked me to do a Black History Month program last year, and I said, well, you know, I don't mind doing it if next year we do it in February, March, April, May, and June, at least. And they agreed to do it. So last Sunday we had our opening ceremony. It was wonderful, and people came out. In March, which is also Women's History Month, we're going to feature a Bay Area native artist who was born here, bred here. You see her work all the time, all over the city. The Blue Bridge over on Fillmore and Geary, the horns in the San Francisco International Terminal of the airport. Her work is all over the city. Her name is Mildred Howard. And she's in the collection of, yes, Mildred deserves a wonderful recognition. I hope you all come out to the DeYoung and hear her speak, because she's going to talk about her work and what inspires her. But what's important about Mildred is that she looks back to the past, and not only does she mine the positive and beautiful and aesthetically pleasing aspects of our culture, but she also looks at some of the things that could have been construed as ugly and turns them beautiful. That's what a real artist does. The other day I saw her working on a print, and she had an old laundry detergent box of the Gold Dust Twins. And she was making a print, making a commentary on how African Americans had been depicted in a way meant to be kind of negative and kind of comical, but she turned it around and made it dignified and beautiful. So that not only do we learn from those old images, but we also understand that we can convert those images and convert the minds of our people and of our children. So and I'm not supposed to talk too long, so I'm gonna be quiet after a minute. I feel like I'm in church. Wait a minute. So we have all these wonderful things happening all year long. June is Black Music Month. July is the month that I was born in. That's Black history, don't you think? August, Marcus Garvey. September was the month that the first African American convention was held in Philadelphia in 1830 at Mother Bethel AME Church, the church I grew up in. September, October, Dizzy Gillespie was born. November, the great, fantastic African American artist Delroy Lindo plug, was born. December, I mean, we could go on and on. Black history is every month. So while we are celebrating February, and I don't think we should throw it away, because 50 years after Dr. Woodson started Negro History Week, in 1976, it became Black History Month, okay? And then before he died, he was talking, I think we should do a Black History Year. So Dr. Woodson was ahead of his time in thinking about how we should celebrate all of the cultural contributions of Americans. And certainly Black history is a major, major part of what has built this country and the world. And we continue to make contributions artistically, politically, intellectually, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you so much for hearing my few words, and have a wonderful Black History Month. Kuji Chakalia.
Clap it up. Keep clapping it up, y'all. Nashormeh, Lindo, thank you so much for blessing us tonight and for enlightening us as well. That was fantastic. One more performance for you now. Please welcome back to the stage the awesome vocals of Mr. Lawrence Beamen. One more time, y'all.
If you're having a good time, say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I want to say, well, he started the music. Come on, put your hands together. More music. Put your hands together. Come on. I took these Negro spirits and I twisted them around a little bit. Listen. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep within my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Come on. We shall overcome someday. We shall overcome, yeah. We shall overcome someday. Right now. We shall overcome someday. This moment. We shall overcome someday. Listen. We shall live at peace. We shall live at peace. We shall live at peace today. Oh, deep within my heart, I do believe that we shall live at peace today. Come on. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. Right now. We shall live in peace. This moment. We shall live in peace. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand today. Oh, deep within my heart, I do believe my heart, I do believe that we are not afraid today. Come on. We are not afraid, child. Listen. Freedom, freedom, freedom over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more weeping, no more weeping, no more weeping over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Come on, deep within my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Come on, right now we shall overcome. Yeah, come on, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. Deep within my heart, I do believe. Deep within my heart, I do believe. Deep within my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome. My last song will be, if you saw me on America's Got Talent, my going-in song was Old Man River. And I want to lift up Paul Robeson tonight. Martin Luther King. I tell people Paul Robeson fought for simple human dignity. Martin Luther King fought for freedom. So we want to lift them up tonight. This song was made very popular or famous by Paul Robeson. It's not a Negro spiritual, but you would think it's a Negro spiritual. Old Man River. There's an old man called the Mississippi. That's the old man that I'd like to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? That old man river, that old man river, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He keeps on rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, but them that plant them is soon forgotten. But old man river, he keeps on rolling along. You and me, we sweat and strain, body all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge, lift that bale, you get a little drunk and you lands in jail. But I keeps laughing instead of crying. I'm tired of leaving and scared of
Beamen, everybody. Give it up, give it up, give it up. That brother is truly gifted, is he not? Truly a gift from God, his voice. Thank you for blessing us with your performances tonight. That was amazing. Well, I've certainly enjoyed being a part of tonight's celebration. Y'all had a good time, I hope. Please give it up, a round of applause for all of our caterers and vendors helping out with this event tonight. And please continue to support their businesses. And just a reminder, as Mrs. Lindo said, Black history happens every single day, 24/7, 365. Now the party will continue. The world famous Rick and Rush show is in the mix in the Heritage Groove Lounge. How about that? That is where you can get your groove on. So do enjoy the rest of the evening, but for closing comments right now as we wrap things up, one more time to the stage, Supervisors, London Breed and Malia Cohen.
Come on up. So again, thank you all so much for being here. I also want to give a shout out to the City Hall staff who all work for Naomi Kelly. I want to give a shout out to Hartman for coming through for us, and all the volunteers and the workers here, Kathy Adams, Michael D. So many amazing people really came together to make this event happen in less than 30 days, and I think we pulled off a pretty incredible event. And it wouldn't have been a great event without seeing all of you here tonight. Enjoy the food, enjoy the festivities, and Supervisor Cohen, what's all this stuff? We gotta, and not only are we letting you eat for free, letting you drink for free, letting you party for free, we're giving away gifts for free.
Yes.
I thought those were drink tickets.
No.
No, oh, shoot, okay. We have a raffle, okay. Oh. Business card raffle, thank goodness, because I already used my 2 drink tickets. Oh, I know this guy. Okay, before I say who this is, he's known me ever since I was a kid. Timothy Gray. I used to work with him when I was a teen at the family school with Calvin Jones. Timothy Gray, you are the winner.
Excuse me, London. I just want the audience to recognize that Timothy Gray is a member of Providence Baptist Church, which is in Bayview Hunters Point.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And he used to work at the family school with Calvin Jones in District 5.
Thank you, Timothy.
Congratulations. Give Pastor my love. Who's the lucky person? What is this, Bayview Hunters Point night? Willie Radcliffe put his card in the bowl. What is it, baby? If he ain't here, you must be present to win. This is rigged. I think only Bayview Hunter Point community cards are in here. Okay, Willie Radcliffe. We're going to have to go to another person. Okay. Too late. We're moving on. Galen Miller. She works for Iron Torrent by Life Technologies. Oh, yay, hi. We don't know where she lives. Me? Oh. Okay, this is our big one. Okay, thank you all for coming tonight. No. We're taking that home. Back up. No, just kidding. We're taking that home. Shh. Okay. Taking Willie Radcliffe's gift home.
All right.
We pull?
We pull.
Okay. Ooh. Angela Harris from Change Aim, Hit Your Mark. Sounds very inspirational, but going once. Angela Harris, going twice. Okay, sold.
Uh-oh, I just see Willie Radcliffe. He's over there.
Mr. Radcliffe, we're gonna go ahead and give this to you. We know that you go to AA meetings every day, so we know you're gonna share it with somebody else. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder of the Bayview, Mr. Willie Radcliffe.
Yes.
The Bayview newspaper.
Smile. Okay, here we go. Thank you.
Did you want to finish?
Yes, thank you. It is. I think you're right.
Thank you. Oh, Supervisor Cohen, I already finished. We're done. We want to go eat. We want to go drink. We want to go dance.
But she's on the mic.
I mean, can we go have a good time or what? Again, thank you all for coming, and we're going to wrap it up with Supervisor Cohen.
I just want to remind everyone that it's open bar. The drinks are on us. Please enjoy yourself, and we'd like to see you again back next year. Thank you and good night.
I'm going to charge you.